by Sin for column. Focus question. Why is groundwater important? When the waters run out. Picture getting up one morning, turning the factories, getting nothing but a gurgle. This happened in 2014 in a port of California, famous for its fruit and vegetables. Years of drought, there meant little rainfall, so to irrigate their crops, farmers pumped huge amounts of groundwater from under the land. The result? Some 2,000 dry wells, even with rain. But what that the shortage of groundwater there was not as soon. Unfortunately, California isn't the only place with a water crisis. And what and where is groundwater? Make a first glass as globe of food into thinking the planet has plenty of water for all our needs. Most of water is in the ocean. However, its salt makes it undrinkable and useful for watering crops. Fresh water keeps us alive, yet less than 3% of Earth's water is fresh. What a small percent polar ice cap and glaciers lock up almost 70%. The surface water in lakes, waters, and ponds make up just 0.3% of freshwater supplies. Scientists estimate that a whopping 99% of usable water is groundwater. Groundwater is fresh water that flows slowly underground. Most of it is stored beneath land and aquifers, underground layers of rock, gravel, and sand that retain groundwater like huge sponges. Rain and melting snow percolate very slowly into the surface ore and rock to feed the aquifers. Aquifers can reach down thousands of feet and extend for thousands of miles. They need our rivers, lakes, and wetlands. Their fresh water also irrigates the best farming regions in the world. For more than a century, people have been pumping millions of gallons of water from underground to drink, grow crops, and meet all the needs. Even during drought, communities and farms located above aquifers can draw groundwater to survive and thrive. This water source keeps much of the humanity from going hungry and thirsty. The trouble is that groundwater levels are falling fast. Water rising can threaten food supplies and peace. People near and far must conserve this life-giving resource. Too many straws. Research now shows people are pumping groundwater faster than nature can replace it. According to experts, water levels have declined in two-thirds of the wells across the United States since 1995 in Great Plains, could be 70% depleted by the year 2060. Competition for groundwater is causing conflict in some farming areas. In Northern California, for example, winemakers show acres of grapes, which require large amounts of water. Many of these growers have drilled deep wells to make sure they can get groundwater they need. Without it, they might also go out of business. Many smaller farmers and homeowners nearby, though, blame this vinegar for sucking out too much of the groundwater they all share, while the shallower wells go dry. In many cases, to drill deeper, property owners cannot afford to drill deeper wells for themselves. It's as if everyone has straw in the same drink, but some farms and businesses can pay more for the longer straw. This situation raises big questions. Who owns groundwater? How much usage is fair? Water fight halfway around the world. Pakistan available water dropped by over 75% in the last 6 years. In many Pakistan put the blame on India, their neighbor to itself. They accuse India of building dams that block river water that would normally flow into them. They say this has forced farmers in Pakistan to pump more groundwater. Indian officials say Pakistan has only self to blame. They say Pakistan has managed its water poorly. These two countries have fought for wars in the past. Today, both face water shortages and increasing competition for fresh water. The United Nations predicts such battles over water will only grow worse. If nothing changes, it's estimated the world will fall 40% short of its water needs by the year 2030. Nearly 2 billion people worldwide could face severe water shortages, leading to food shortages and famine. In time, shortages like this can even lead to war, except war in some places a lack of water and already forced large numbers of people to leave their home in Syria. For example, don't draw rural people into cities. Evidence suggests that this moment in turn has started a civil war in 2011. As a result, many Syrians have died. In many places, groundwater is that important. The differences between green farms or dusty fields matter of life or death, without water supplies that people can rely on. Violence and great suffering threaten are threatened to spread as people fight for water resources. Staying out of trouble. There is an old saying, it's easier to stay out of trouble than get out of trouble. This is true, but the worst flies of groundwater. Dealing with this crisis will now be much easier than dealing with aquifers run dry. Addressing the crisis requires us to plan ahead. However, one growing threat to the world's groundwater supply is climate change. Almost all scientists who study the Earth now agree it is getting hotter. Climate change means changes in weather patterns. For example, regions that rely on regularly raining seasons may see the season shift. They may see a change in the amount of moisture the seasons delivered. Fresh water may be harder to come by. Another huge challenge is the population growth. More than 7 billion people live on our planet now. That figure is expected to reach 11 billion by the year 2100. All of us will need water to drink and grow our food. We must manage groundwater now, and we can. Farming smarter. Our best hope is water conservation, finding ways to use less water and keep more groundwater in the ground. Improving the way we farm is by far most important action we can take to conserve groundwater. Experts estimate that about 65% of fresh groundwater Americans pump to the surface is used to irrigate crops. Yet many forms of irrigation waste water. They sprayed and sprinkled water on the surface, where much of its loss is to evaporation. More farmers now accept that they cannot keep pumping so much groundwater. They are using new methods to make sure every drop counts. New methods monitor moisture in the soil and turn the irrigations on and off automatically, wasting less water. Many fruit and nut orchards now bury irrigation pipes. Buried pipes deliver water closer to the tree roots and with less water. Planting different crops can also help conserve groundwater in states such as Kansas and Iowa. Some farms are switching from corn to other crops because corn required a lot of water. However, corn crops earn more money, so many farmers don't want to change. Farmers need new ways to farm. If they do not conserve water voluntarily, empty aquifers will one day force them to. Future focus. Record drought forced California to conserve water. At one point, cities there could fine people $500 a day if they failed to follow restrictions on washing cars or watering lawns. As a result, water use there dropped. In just 6 months, California in California went from using as much as 140 gallons per person to just 67 gallons a day on average.